Residents in the nation's capital are busy stacking sandbags around their homes in a time of crisis that was thought to come once in 100 years. But it's a familiar scene for many. Just 2 years ago, the same riverside communities were packing and stacking sandbags, only to be faced with the worst flooding in decades again.
I am not sure that this is going to work. I'm cleaning the house out. If I do get flooded, I'm not going to lose everything. There's a very real possibility that if the house gets flooded, that's going to be it.
The still rising Ottawa River is forecast to swell higher than it did during the historic 2017 floods. At the time, it was a once-in-a-century event.
This is the water level from 2 years ago, and it's supposed to come up by another 75 centimeters past where it is now.
Obviously, once we secure the situation through this spring flooding season, we will have to have significant reflections and conversations on how we move forward.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who helped fill sandbags yesterday in Ottawa's flood-ravaged West End, warned again that the severity and frequency of this type of extreme flooding is the new reality of climate change.
It highlights how important it is that we fight climate change, that we adapt, that we mitigate the impacts of more common extreme weather events. We need to continue to lead in terms of reaching our Paris targets.
As water levels continue to rise in the Ottawa-Gatineau region, the Government of Canada announced it was shutting down an interprovincial crossing starting today. Ottawa has been under a state of emergency since last week, but the city is not alone. Residents in 4 Canadian provinces are in a fight against rising floodwaters to save their homes, and those on the front line face a few more difficult days ahead.
The St. John River with the afflicted flood area.
Water levels should start dropping slightly along the St. John River in New Brunswick, but it could be days before they return below flood stage. Water levels on the Ottawa River are expected to peak on Tuesday or Wednesday, but local conservation authorities are already flagging the possibility of a fresh round of rainfall later in the week. Meanwhile, for people living near the St. John River in and around the Fredericton area, they're being warned that water levels could rise again as rain from earlier in the weekend starts to make its way through the river system.